What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock, what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down why tomorrow is going to be a big day for NIO because NIO just announced an event where they're going to be launching some very awesome displays for their models, and also break down some more important things. NIO is also going to be talking about this in Shanghai, which is going to be super important, so make sure you're ready for this. And on top of this, we have the FOMC minutes, so some very important data coming out from the Fed for tomorrow that's going to be huge. It will affect the whole market, and this will affect NIO stock as well. And finally, I'm going to discuss the debt ceiling, break down what's happening right now with the debt ceiling. Are we making any progress or not? And how may this affect the markets over the next couple of weeks? Before I break anything down about all this information, though, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks, each worth up to $3,000. And the best part is that it could be a free NIO or Tesla share. The offer ends very soon in just about 8 days, so check it out before they run out. It's almost over. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. NIO was down about 0.34% for the day, but it did reach my target of about almost $9, around that $9 area. I told you guys that NIO would try to pump and get very close to this $9 range. Then we might see NIO just slow down a little bit after that. It came very close. Actually, in the pre-market, we hit about just under $9, and then we ended up selling off just a tiny bit with the market. I did warn you guys that we could see some downside for SPY and many other stocks out there, but I didn't expect us to sell off to this extent. That's because of the debt ceiling right now. However, looking at the news, okay, the news is making this look very negative, saying that there's not a whole lot that's going on, not much progress is being made. They're obviously picking sides, just pointing fingers and saying one side is doing this and that. You could say different things about the other side, right? I like to be in the middle. I'm not really siding with anyone here, but I also saw some very promising news as well, and I want to be open-minded simultaneously. So Kevin McCarthy came out, right? He's the guy that's meeting with Joe Biden, and they're going to be starting off this deal. McCarthy came out and he's saying that a lot of progress has been made, and they've actually finished some negotiations for some parts of it, but they haven't finished everything. And they have some bigger things to still discuss, such as the spending plan. They're still working on that. Now, Joe Biden also said that they're open for a bipartisan agreement and they're going to continue to work. And McCarthy and Biden are going to be meeting every single day. So that's what I'm seeing from my transcripts. I know the media is not really showing this specific data that I have specifically on my phone right now, but I just want to break down that on paper, there appears to be some progress that has been made. But at the same time, you have to remember that I'm using the word just some progress. This is not a lot of progress, because what's going to make a lot of progress would be a deal that includes action, right? Words are just words, right? They could talk all they want about some progress and this and that. That does not matter as much. What matters more is let's get the deal done actually, because a lot of people's lives are at stake right here. A lot of people's livelihoods are at stake, and they need to get something done as soon as possible. And as they're continuing to work on this, it's been delayed over and over again because Biden and McCarthy were initially saying that we should have a deal done by Sunday. We did not get a deal for Sunday. Then they were saying that maybe within a day or two, it should be done. They said that yesterday. Well, one day has passed. Today's Tuesday, and there's still no deal done. So the delays are leading to some concerns in the bonds markets, especially after what Janet Yellen said, and the market's finally starting to sell off because of it. So the market's starting to uh, make its way back to reality. But the question is, how will this affect the market moving forward? Let me just note that if we get a deal at any given moment, okay, whether it's tomorrow, whether it's next week, the market is still going to make a very big move to the upside temporarily. Then I think it's going to turn into a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event. So yes, we could get this pump and we could see SPY fill this gap all the way up in the 418s, push to 420 again. But then after that, the market might just start to slow down and it might start declining as we approach June because of some sell signals I'm still seeing. Now, I've kept my word on this claim for quite a while. I mean, if you zoom out of the charts and look at the MACD and even on the RSI, I mean, there are constant divergences that are developing like right over here. They're still developing on the RSI and the MACD, and I believe that there's a high probability they're going to play out later on. Not yet, but in the future, right? I'm still seeing a high chance of that happening. Now, we're quite oversold on the 1 hour time frame, so I'm going to be looking for a potential bounce or at least the market trying to base very soon. But there's no clear sign of it just yet for the short term. I believe that we're waiting for the debt ceiling news, and then another big factor that's going to affect the whole markets, including NIO. So, what are the other factors, including NIO? What's making tomorrow so big? Let me explain. First off, we have earnings coming out for tomorrow. We have NVIDIA earnings after the market closes. So Wednesday after the market closes, we have NVIDIA reporting earnings. That's going to be very big for the tech sector. But then we have crude oil data coming out early tomorrow morning. Not too huge compared to what's happening at about 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific time, which is at about 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. We have the FOMC minutes, and this is going to be pretty massive for the stock market because the Fed is going to give us more insights about their discussions, information about their decisions moving forward. They're going to be analyzing the rates and talk about why it's very important for us to understand what on earth they're telling us. They're going to talk a lot more about more specific details in their discussions and financial developments. And this is going to be very, very crucial for the markets. If the Fed is pointing in the direction that they're going to be more hawkish, give us another rate hike, that's going to be bearish for the markets. If not, it could still be bullish. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. It's best to just be patient from this point. Now, as far as NIO goes, let me just add a couple of things. There's much else developing in terms of this data. We have some resistance around the 8.8 area. Then support is currently at around 8.69 to 8.65. Then below that, we have 8.5, 8.2, and then $8 flat for NIO. NIO tends to be green about 56% of the time on Wednesdays. Wednesdays tend to be one of NIO's strongest days. And also the short interest on NIO did actually go up to about 9 million just a couple of days ago, but it has been declining a bit as we saw some short covering. NIO has below average volume at about 36 million, not too crazy overall. And finally, the short volume has dropped a bit, showing signs of short covering. Excuse me, sorry guys. So finally, what's going on with tomorrow? Why is tomorrow also so big for NIO? Well, first off, don't forget we have the debt ceiling. Secondly, we have the FOMC minutes, which will affect the Fed's policies, which will affect the whole market, which will affect NIO. And thirdly, we have a very, very big event for NIO in Shanghai. They're going to be launching an event for its ES6, their luxury electric SUV. And that, once again, is going to give them a lot more. It's going to really spread the word about NIO and give them more and more insights for consumers. It's going to help more people learn about the companies, and these events are very important for them to grow their brand and get themselves out there more often than not. So what are we seeing on the charts? Well, it's very simple. SPY is trying to base around this 414 zone. If we break below it, then we have 412 and 409 as two very important levels. It looks like we're going to head for like 412 to me though before we get some kind of bounce. Maybe in the pre-market it could happen. And then I just want to add that we're going to react to the FOMC minutes. If we turn bullish, SPY could retest these lows to make its way all the way back up to the 415 and 417 zones. If not, then there could be more downside, right? So be very careful with that. As far as Tesla goes, it's trying to base around this 185 to 186 zone. It's holding up quite nicely. We got a nice bounce off this 186 zone, but now it's going to react to the FOMC minutes. If the market sells off more, Tesla's going to retest 183.67. If Tesla bounces with the market, then Tesla can make its way back up to 190. It all depends on what happens with the minutes, also with the data. For the QQQ, if we turn bullish, it's going to make its way up to about 334, then push up to 335.6. If we get some good news for the minutes, if they're bad, it's going to make its way down to about 330 flat. And right now, the odds are favoring it dropping a little bit more, maybe to 332, and then trying to bounce from there. But it's looking to me like it all depends on the data. And for now, we do have an imbalance around 330. It could make its way down there depending on the minutes. Last but not least, for NIO, one of the things I told you is we'd get very close to $9. We came very, very close, then we slowed down a bit. And now NIO is starting to slow down and lose momentum. We've got a bearish cross on the PPO right over here. And NIO is getting rejected off the supply zone, this $8.8 to $9 range. Now that that's happening, I think NIO may experience a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event. So it might pump off in the pre-market because of the big meeting. Because you have to remember, it's already the 24th in Shanghai. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning at the time I'm recording this. So within the next like 6 hours or like 7 hours or something like that, the event may get close to starting within the next 12 hours at least. That's going to be before the market opens here in the US. So what that means is NIO could open very, very flat, but then during these events, they tend to be like buy the rumor, sell the news. We could see NIO slow down a little bit afterwards. And then if NIO does retest like the 8.6s, maybe even the 8.5s, that's going to be okay. Then we're going to react to the FOMC minutes. And I'm not too sure how that's going to go. It depends on what the Fed is saying. If we get a good FOMC minutes that causes the market to bounce, NIO can make its way back up to about 8.7. If not, NIO is going to make its way down to 8.2, then $8. All right, guys. So I want to just thank you all so much for listening. I have some merch for you guys if you want to buy like a shirt or tank top that says buy the dip or something like that. And also don't forget about the Webull link. Put in any amount of money and you're guaranteed up to 12 free stocks. All right, guys. Thank you all for listening. NIO in the market to the moon as the long term is still incredibly bright. And peace out.